Bruce's big call. Dinar Intel Tuesday night, May 20, 25. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. Transcribed by Wiser, now emailed to recaps. Welcome everybody to the big call tonight. It is Tuesday, May the 20th, and you're listening to the big call. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We're glad that Bob is back in the studio now, and we're ready to go with tonight's call, all refreshed and ready. And I hope you guys are ready too. Let's talk about Intel. Let's start with Sue reminded me that Henry had a question for about trusts, and do we need a trust when we go to the redemption center? Alright, here's the story on that. It's good if you have a trust already that you could put your accounts underneath, sort of like use the trust name as your umbrella. Your account names are your account, your bank accounts, your LLC bank accounts. If you use LLC, that's the structure I'm using for LLCs underneath my trust banner, and then my bank accounts will show up underneath each one of the LLC accounts with their own LLC name. Now that's how I've done it. I set it up with a trusted attorney, a very good friend of mine, and that's how we set it up. Now, what if you don't have a trust? If you don't have a trust, there was discussion before in the old days, also in the old days, that they would help provide you with a skeleton trust. I don't think they're going to have time at the redemption center in 30 to 40 minutes, but they are available through the premier bankers at Wells Fargo to do that for you very soon after you do your exchange, and they can take these accounts that you've set up. Now, your Quantum account probably, I actually don't know the answer this. I don't know if the Quantum account would be set up underneath your trust. It could be, I think, but all of your bank accounts would be. So the answer, Henry, is best if you have a trust. If you have time and you have a trust attorney or someone who's really good at estate planning, those guys sometimes do trusts. And then you need to have that set up as well. I've got a trust and a living will, which is, if something were to happen where I wasn't able to function, or was, incapacitated, I've got somebody who'd take over. In your trust, of course, you name your trustees, which you can be one of. You can also name your beneficiaries, and you go on, and successor trustees, successor beneficiaries, all of that stuff, you list out so you have some idea of who you have that you can trust and who you have as heirs, if you want heirs to have any of this money afterwards, should something happen to you now. So it's a good idea to do that, but you don't have to have a trust when you go in for your exchange and your redemption of ZIM. Now they're going to want you to do it fairly quickly. I'd say within the first couple of weeks. You'd want to get something set up within the first couple of weeks. We're not going to speak anything negative on anybody. We're not going to say we hope we don't lose anybody. Of course, we hope not. But things happen, so you want to protect yourself and these assets after you exchange. And, I just think there's a whole lot like Sue was talking about for her class. It's going to start tomorrow night. Is that a lot of people are not quite up to speed on this, within the same family, and this is amazing to me. How many people don't believe in it? Don't think it's ever going to happen. Don't understand it. And you know what? It is difficult for people to see it. A lot of times, there are believers and non-believers, there's wheat and chaff, and there are people that don't really see what it is that we see, or at least what I see. Because I'm in it every day, and I'm getting information most of the time every day that moves us further and further along. So I would say, if you have an unbelieving spouse in this, hang in there, you'll be able to say, I told you so, without saying I told you so to your spouse, and hopefully, you will cement that relationship before this goes. And then if you've got, let's say you're an individual and you've got children that don't believe in it. Let's say you're older and you've got adult children that really think you're nuts and really wonder, when this goes they'll have an inheritance one day, so comfort them with these words. It's crazy. Guys, I know a lot of people are thinking, man, when this happens, my unbelieving husband is thinking, I'm nuts for doing this, and I'm out of here. Well, do your best to stay in the marriage, if you can do your best to just reconcile and make everything work again, and go back and get back to your first love. And hopefully you can go on in life, and then you also have a situation of some people understand and know about the medbeds like I do and Sue does, but other people it's new to them. I have explained the medbeds to a lot of doctors and medical people, nurses and so on. They get it and research holographic beds. And they come back and they talk, saying, yeah, I looked it up, and you're right. Blah, blah, blah. Well, we know what they look like. We've got people that we know that, I know that have physically been there and seen them and not haven't gone in them yet. But he's seen them, and he knows what they already described everything about it to me, so I'm familiar with it. I'm looking forward to it. So all I can say is, yeah, there is some division among the ranks in terms of who believes in this, who doesn't, and believes in this other, much less a global currency reset that's taking place now with about 24 different currencies, and there's only going to be the one reset. There's not going to be a first, second, third basket, like we heard initially, just the one basket, boom, and we had some extra countries that have come in. I told you about that, one of which was Syria, one of which is Korea, which is the one North and South are going to end up merging as one nation. So you've got you've got Cambodia, obviously Vietnam, we know about that, also Myanmar, which was Burma at one time. They may go back to the name Burma, I don't know. Point is, there are these countries. India is in the first basket with their rupee, not Indonesian rupiah, but Indian rupee. So they're in two, you've got 24 currencies. You guys know about 5 or 6 or 7 of them. They're going to be major movers up in value, and those are the ones most of us have. So let's look at it this way. Where are we right now? Where are we? We are in a position where we had a certain number of banks in the United States that were not playing ball. They said they would connect to the quantum financial system. And guess what? They lied.
Certain banks did not come to the party, and because of that, they were taken over, and now are being forced to be connected to the quantum financial system, and they have new addresses, new IPs. And basically they're being fixed over the last minute to be part of this. And these are smaller banks, tier 4, tier 3 banks, tier 4 banks, regional banks, smaller banks that are going to be swallowed up by the big 5. Wells, Chase, Citi, Bank of America, and Truist banks are going to pick up these renegade banks. That's true here, and it's also true in Canada, so they're working on that as we speak. And rates were not up on the screens at the banks yesterday. Redemption centers are not up today, but we believe that change probably over the next 3 days could be as early as tomorrow, but they should all come up with new rates and be reflective of what it is we're looking for over the next 3 days. That would be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now we should be where we think we should be for notifications and start of exchanges over the next 3 days, but I heard a couple of sources say it could extend out as far as Sunday morning. So I'm not looking forward to a Friday or a Saturday or even a Sunday start at all. I'm looking for something Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but realize it's possible that we get delayed until the weekend, and then I know Memorial Day is Monday. Nothing's going to happen on Monday Memorial Day, I don't think, unless we get started sooner. If we get sooner, then we might go right through and include Monday Memorial Day as an exchange day could be. With limited hours, who knows? Too hard to say that yet, but I'm hoping that we get some real positive response in the next 3 days and get our numbers. They're locked and loaded in the system, that part is ready. All they need to do is flip the switch and kick them out to us, and then we'll go get those emails, set our appointments and go. Now as backup, because they don't have everybody's email, probably by now they have. Everybody that bought currency through a legitimate dealer or eBay or something like that, because they have their emails, because you had to give your email when you bought it, so they have it all loaded in. But if you change your email recently or something happened like that, and they don't have a current email for you, we're going to try to keep you informed by putting the toll-free number for the call centers, which goes for setting up an appointment at the redemption center. Okay, why is the redemption center? Because you're redeeming Zimbabwe dollars. If you don't have Zim, you still should use the redemption center, because some of the rates are going to be higher, like I mentioned on Dinar, when you use the redemption center, as opposed to a bank. And banks will not be handling the Zim, not at first, maybe after a month. Wells Fargo and maybe some of the other tier 1 banks can handle Zim. I believe it's just Wells Fargo that will handle it after the redemption center is closed. Okay, so we'll see when we get started. Obviously, we need the toll-free number to set the appointment. Then we're golden. We've gone over 50% of the way there once we have the number and set our appointment. Then it's a matter of showing up, remembering your currency, remembering your photo ID, remembering your presentation if you've done one, to leave as a leave-behind piece. With them, no more than 3 pages, 1 page, 2 page, maximum 3. It's not a business plan. You're not leaving 100-page business plan. You're just literally giving them an outline of what it is you intend to do. As a humanitarian, if that's your goal, and I think that's a goal for a lot of people that are listening to the big call, if speak to the other calls, because we don't know if you're listening to somebody else. And you're not listening to the big call, then you know you're in a different game altogether. I think most of the people are listening to this call, or they're reading the call notes, and they're getting the information that we're saying. So everything is coming together for those banks that are not with the program. Now they're getting with the program under new ownership. Okay, that's good, and now we can move forward. Did it slow us down? Yeah, I think it did at least 1 or 2 days, and hopefully that's all. We will see how it goes. You know, we're getting towards the end of the month, and I think their idea is to let this go before the weekend. We're just going to have to wait it out. We've waited this long. We can wait until it pops. All right, let's see what else am I going to talk about tonight. So we looks like something could happen as early as tomorrow through Friday, the next 72 hours, to get rates to populate all the way back up like they want them. Banks are being lined up, squared away, and otherwise. I'll say this, let's look forward to having a call Thursday. Don't know if it'll be a celebration call. Maybe it will, but if you haven't registered your email on bigcalleduniverse.com, do that, because that's the way that we'll be able to get in touch with you. When we get the number, we will send an email out with the toll-free number, the 800 number on it, so you'll have it in your email, and we'll vet the number to make sure it's the good number before it goes out. Now that's one thing that's pretty important. Some people think that the bank is the way to go. I can tell you the redemption centers that are run by Wells Fargo in the United States is the way to go. Redemption centers will give you better service on they're much more schooled on the quantum accounts. They know what's going on with the ZIM. They know they have a contract rate on Dinar. In other words, there's just a lot more that. And you'll also get a Q phone, a satellite phone, for free when you go through as a ZIM holder. ZIM holders get those, and who knows what else. You'll guide a list of perks or benefits from the bank, things that you can accept and say, I'd like to take that, or that or that. You can just make a choice on some things that are supposed to not cost you anything, just it'll be free to you as a perk for signing up and being a person who has an account with that bank. So we'll see how they go. We'll see. I know interest rates are going to be very good on what they'll pay us that we have in our actual bank accounts. It's changed a lot, so I'm not going to give you the retail up. It's been down, it's been higher. It's all over the place. Even I'm just literally going to get that paid every quarter, quarter after quarter, year after year, and then just try to do the best we can invest in people's lives. When I say invest, I mean in people's lives, in projects, in Rebuild America, in Rebuild International, you know, the Veterans Retreat Network, in the Pastoral Retreat Network, you know. So all those 4 projects, those are my main 4 projects right there. That's going to be plenty to keep me occupied, and then hopefully many of you that want to help volunteer in some of those areas, so I'll let you know. So give us sign up with your email. If you haven't done it already, sign up. That's all you do, and that way. So we can send you updates on podcasts that I might do. I might do some solo, I might do one with Bob, might do one with Sue and Bob. We'll have to see what happens. Okay, after this goes and then those will be podcasts, because we won't be doing live calls on the big call after this. Well, good night, everybody. God bless you. We'll see you Thursday. Listen to the full version on the official DinarReport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. Source: Dinar Recaps.